struggles are inevitable in life. We all face them. At times they feel overwhelming, like a storm we cannot escape. But the storm, it is not meant to drown us. Rather, it is an opportunity for us to learn to swim, to endure, to rise. You may feel lost in the chaos of life, unable to find solid ground. But you are not powerless. The truth is, you have within you an unshakable strength, one that has been cultivated and revered by some of the greatest minds in history. This strength is what the ancient philosophy of Stoicism calls virtue. And through the lens of this timeless wisdom, we can find the path to overcome even the darkest of challenges. The wisdom of the Stoics is not simply a set of abstract ideas. It is a way of life, a guide to mastering ourselves in the face of adversity. We are not alone in our struggles. The Stoics have walked this path before us, and their teachings echo through time, offering us the tools to navigate the complexities of existence with resilience, clarity, and grace. In this journey, we will explore 7 core Stoic strategies that will help you overcome any challenge you face. These are not mere tactics to solve temporary problems, they are principles to transform your entire approach to life. By integrating these Stoic strategies, you will no longer be a victim of circumstance. You will be the architect of your own destiny. Let us walk this path together. 1. Control what you can, accept what you cannot. The first and most essential Stoic strategy is learning to distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. We often struggle in life because we expend immense energy trying to change things that are beyond our influence. We obsess over the past, worry about the future, and stress over the opinions of others. But as Epictetus, one of the most profound voices in Stoic philosophy, famously said, "Some things are up to us and some things are not." The Stoics believed that our power lies solely in our own thoughts, actions, and responses. Everything else, the events of the world, the behavior of others, the circumstances we find ourselves in, are beyond our control. The more we focus on what we cannot change, the more we suffer. The key to peace lies in focusing exclusively on what we can control. Consider this. How much time have you spent worrying about how others perceive you? Or dwelling on mistakes from the past? These are distractions, illusions of control that keep us trapped in cycles of anxiety and frustration. The Stoic does not waste energy on things they cannot change. Instead, they redirect their focus to what lies within their power, their own mindset, actions, and decisions. Accepting that we cannot control everything is not about giving up, it's about liberation. It frees us from the burden of carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders. It allows us to channel our energy into what truly matters. This is the first step toward overcoming any challenge, recognizing where our power begins and ends. Imagine if you could let go of your need to control others, to control outcomes, and instead focus entirely on mastering yourself. This is where true freedom lies. 2. See challenges as opportunities for growth. The next Stoic strategy is to reframe challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. This mindset shift is crucial for overcoming adversity, and it is one that has been echoed by Stoic thinkers for centuries. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king who governed the Roman Empire through war, plague, and personal tragedy, captured this idea when he wrote in his Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What does this mean? It means that every challenge, every hardship you face, is not something to fear or avoid. Instead, it is an opportunity to develop your character, to strengthen your resilience, and to cultivate wisdom. The Stoics believed that adversity is a test, a trial that reveals who we truly are and pushes us toward becoming the best versions of ourselves. When life presents difficulties, the natural response is to resist, to wish them away. But the Stoic response is to lean into these challenges, to see them as a necessary part of our journey toward virtue. The struggle itself is what refines us. The fire that burns is the same fire that forges steel. Think about the moments in your life when you grew the most. Was it during times of ease and comfort? Or was it during times of hardship, when you were forced to confront pain, uncertainty, or failure? Growth rarely occurs in comfort. It is in the crucible of struggle that we become stronger, wiser, more resilient. The Stoic sees every challenge as a gift. It may not feel like one in the moment, but in retrospect, we often recognize that the hardest times in our lives were the most transformative. The next time you face a challenge, ask yourself, how can this make me better? Instead of resisting the obstacle, embrace it. This shift in perspective alone can turn your greatest struggles into your greatest sources of strength. 3. Master your emotions, or they will master you. Emotions are powerful forces. They can drive us to achieve great things, but they can also lead us into destructive behaviors if left unchecked. We often struggle because we allow our emotions, anger, fear, jealousy, grief, to dictate our actions. In doing so, we become prisoners of our own feelings, reacting impulsively to every situation instead of responding with wisdom. The Stoics understood the importance of mastering one's emotions. They believed that emotions, particularly destructive ones, cloud our judgment and lead us away from virtue. Seneca, the Roman philosopher and statesman, offered this advice: the greatest remedy for anger is delay. In other words, when we feel intense emotions rising within us, the Stoic response is to pause. Reflect. Do not act on impulse. But Stoicism does not teach us to suppress our emotions or pretend they do not exist. Instead, it teaches us to understand them, to question them, and to choose how we respond to them. The Stoic does not allow anger to dictate their actions. They pause, consider whether their anger is justified, and ask themselves whether acting on that anger will lead to a better outcome. When you find yourself in the grip of strong emotions, remember this: emotions are not facts. They are temporary states that can distort your perception of reality. You are not powerless against them. You have the ability to observe them, question them, and decide whether they are worth acting upon. This principle is not about being emotionless. It's about emotional mastery. It's about understanding that while emotions are a natural part of life, they do not have to control us. The Stoic is calm, composed, and deliberate in their actions, even in the face of intense emotions. This emotional resilience is key to overcoming life's challenges. 4. Remember the impermanence of life, memento mori. We often struggle because we forget how fragile and temporary life truly is. We behave as if we have endless time to pursue our goals, to mend relationships, or to live out our dreams. But death is the one certainty we all face. The Stoics were deeply aware of this truth, and they used it as a powerful motivator to live with intention and urgency. Memento mori, the Stoics would say, remember, you will die. This is not a morbid thought, but a reminder that life is fleeting, and we must make the most of the time we have. Marcus Aurelius reflected on this often in his writings, urging himself to let each thing you do, say, or intend be like that of a dying person. The Stoic practice of reflecting on death is not meant to induce fear, but to bring clarity. It strips away the trivial concerns that dominate our lives and refocuses our attention on what truly matters. When you remember that your time is limited, you stop wasting it on petty arguments, superficial desires, and meaningless distractions. You live with purpose, knowing that each day is a gift that could be your last. By contemplating death, the Stoic gains a sense of urgency and gratitude. Life's struggles become less overwhelming when viewed through the lens of impermanence. The difficulties you face today will pass, just as all things do. And in the grand scheme of things, many of the problems that seem so pressing right now will fade into insignificance. When you find yourself caught up in the stress and chaos of life, pause and remind yourself, memento mori. Let this thought center you, ground you, and guide you toward what truly matters. 5. Detach from external validation. Another common source of struggle is our deep-rooted desire for approval and validation from others. We live in a world that constantly measures our worth by external standards, success, wealth, beauty, status. But the Stoics understood that true contentment comes not from the opinions of others, but from living in accordance with one's own values. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who was born into slavery but rose to become a teacher of emperors, advised his students, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Why? Because the pursuit of virtue often requires us to go against the grain, to defy societal expectations. If we are constantly seeking approval from others, we will never live authentically. We will be slaves to their opinions. The Stoic recognizes that external validation is fleeting and unreliable. People's opinions are fickle, often shaped by their own insecurities and biases. To base your self-worth on the approval of others is to build your foundation on sand. The Stoic builds their sense of self on a much firmer ground, their own integrity, their own adherence to virtue. Detach yourself from the need for external validation. It is a burden that will only weigh you down. Instead, focus on living in accordance with your principles, regardless of whether others approve. The true Stoic seeks only the approval of their own conscience. 6. Cultivate inner fortitude. Life will test you. There will be pain, disappointment, loss, and hardship. The Stoic does not seek to avoid these experiences, but rather to cultivate the inner strength to endure them with dignity and grace. This inner strength is known as fortitudo, or fortitude, and it is a central virtue in Stoic philosophy. Fortitude is not about being unfeeling or emotionless. It is about having the courage to face life's difficulties head-on without losing your composure or sense of purpose. It is the ability to remain steady in the face of adversity, to persevere even when the odds are against you. Musonius Rufus, a Stoic philosopher who was exiled multiple times for his teachings, exemplified this virtue. Despite the hardships he faced, he never wavered in his commitment to live virtuously. He taught that true strength lies not in physical power or wealth, but in the ability to remain resolute in the face of life's trials. When you encounter hardship, do not view it as something to be avoided. Instead, see it as an opportunity to cultivate your inner fortitude. Each challenge is a chance to prove to yourself that you are capable of enduring, of rising above the circumstances that seek to bring you down. Fortitude is not about avoiding suffering, it is about transcending it. 7. Live in accordance with nature. Finally, we struggle because we resist the natural order of life. We fight against the inevitable changes and uncertainties that are a part of existence. But the Stoics believed that true peace comes from living in harmony with nature, from accepting the world as it is rather than as we wish it to be. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, taught that virtue lies in aligning oneself with nature. This means accepting the ebb and flow of life, recognizing that we are but small parts of a vast and interconnected whole. The Stoic understands that the universe operates according to its own laws, indifferent to our personal desires and expectations. To fight this reality is to fight against the very fabric of existence itself. But to accept it is to find peace. This does not mean passively resigning yourself to whatever happens. Rather, it means recognizing that while you cannot control the external world, you can control how you respond to it. By aligning your actions with the natural order of things, you live in harmony with the universe, and in doing so, you find tranquility. Conclusion. In life, we are bound to face challenges. This is an unavoidable truth. But what sets the Stoic apart is their ability to confront these challenges with strength, wisdom, and grace. The Stoic does not crumble under the weight of adversity. They rise, they persevere, and they transform their struggles into opportunities for growth. By practicing these 7 Stoic strategies, focusing on what we can control, embracing challenges, mastering our emotions, remembering our mortality, detaching from external validation, cultivating inner fortitude, and living in harmony with nature, we can overcome any challenge that life throws our way. We are not victims of circumstance. We are the architects of our own lives, and through Stoic wisdom, we can build a life of resilience, purpose, and inner peace. In the end, our struggles are not our enemies. They are the way forward. Embrace them, and you will find within yourself an unshakable strength that no external force can break.